breeding chickens, selective breeding, breeding for traits, breeding for color. But what's got me going on right now, we're going to get into this homemade incubator here in a minute. That's something else I'm experimenting with. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's place. As always, if this is your first time here, thanks for dropping in. Feel free to drop in anytime you feel, my friend. Guys, if you're someone who watches all of my videos, one of my regular viewers, you'll know from the last video I done a few days ago. Once I went in there to edit it, the video was extremely too long. So I'm splitting it into two, so I've still got the exact same clothes, still standing in the same spot, but I'm moving right on into my homemade incubator here and talking about what I'm going to do is experiment on some of my chickens. So something in this video down the line may refer back to something I was talking about the video before, since I thought it was going to be one video. But hey, this is real life stuff. This ain't no narrated operation I'm doing here. I just do stuff as whatever comes to my mind. The day I think I need to make a video, and I go from there. So I ain't got all my stuff planned out, or my ducks in a row, if you may want to call it. But anyhow, we finna move right into my incubator here and talk about it, and show you how it works and a little bit about it. So we finna get right on into where I had left off on making a video, moving into my homemade incubator here. But since my pullets are so young, I ain't gonna be able to breed from them, and my chicks won't even be able to breed from them till next year probably. Because you want to wait till your eggs get to a bigger size. You don't want to be hatching little pullet eggs to try to improve your flock. But I got that one older hen. I'll show y'all a little clip here again. She's a beautiful hen. Got everything a man wants other than the white earlobes, and she's too yellow. But I ain't got nothing else to do right now, so I'm starting to collect eggs. I seen the rooster was a little active the other day and doing his job on breeding her. And since she's in there with two other pullets, I know which eggs her, because they weigh a lot bigger. So I'm going to do another experiment on hatching eggs from her and the rooster from Madeline Royal, just to see what I come out with. But the more I read and the more I research on this breeding with the DNA, the genetics, the chromosomes, and the whatever they call them, I mean, there's a list of on that DNA stuff, the more confused I get. So the best thing I can do on my chicken breeding going forward is every time I breed out of that group of chicks that's hatched from that hatching, I just got to save the best of the best for each pen, and that's the only way I can go for it. And then try to group, just say if I'm working on comb size, well, if you got a rooster with a big comb, you're going to pair it with hens with a smaller comb to try to improve your comb next time. But when you start getting into all them genetics, just like on that yellow hen, trying to get it to breed white, well, you don't know what that rooster or the hen has from his parents. It's genes. And I can't come out with the proper words right now, because it was so much I just can't remember all them big words. But anyhow, but when you're breeding chickens, you're going to get a pair of genes for the offspring, one from the father and one from the mother. But let's say I breed this yellow hen to this snow white rooster, and I get some snow white chicks. But next time you have chicks from them, that don't mean they gonna come out white, because they may still have a gene tied back to their mom or to their grandma that'll show up later. So I kind of knew that, but I ain't never really read the big words, so to speak, kind of like in rabbit breeding. I know when you breeding, something could come out from past generations, like in color, how they created that rabbit. It's kind of the same thing on chickens. I just never really read up on the big words, and that's why it confuses the hell out of me, because you read and you're like, yeah, that makes sense, right? It makes sense, but then you start reading, you're like, well, yeah. So you can think you're going forward in your improvement of your flock, and then all of a sudden you can go backwards real quick, because some of that can start coming back out. So that's why starting out here, I'm gonna make sure, just like on the hens I got from Mandolin Royal, I got 6 out there, but 4 of them, they gonna probably stay around a couple of years, so I can always fall back just to them, in case I have to start over. And screwed this up so bad. She may not be nice enough to work with me on no eggs again. Yeah, I'm sure I could get some more eggs from her, but I don't want to start totally over. Because that's one of the reasons I'm going to tell you, if you going to get American Bresse chicks and want to get started, if you want eggs, you need to reach out to Mandolin Royal, because she done put all of this time into her flocks, building them up just for meatiness. And if you don't want to start out with your eggs, I'm going to recommend my friend Chase over at Recreational Homestead. Go check him out. That's where I got my last chicks we'll look at here again in a moment for an update. Because they done put time into them. Now yes, you're going to pay more for them chicks and you're going to pay more for them eggs, but it's going to put you about 3 years ahead of your game getting started on trying to produce you a good flock. And I'm going to go back to hatcheries that just sell chicks just to sell them and make money. Them ones I started out with from Bresse Farm. There's nothing wrong with them for chickens. I mean, that's what the guy do. That's what hatcheries do. They just breed to sell. The more they breed, the more they got to sell. That's the name of the game. So I ain't downing the hatcheries for no reason. I'm just saying, if you want to get ahead on your game, you're going to have to pay a little bit more and reach out there and get you some that where people's been working on them, and that's what you paying for, is their time that they've been putting into them. They can't sell their stuff as cheap as these hatcheries that's just multiplying by tens of thousands. You can't expect them to. So it all depends on what you want. You want something cheap, you're going to get what you pay for. If you want something good, you're going to have to pay up a little bit. That's everything in life. I don't care what it is. Like me with my coffee, I kind of like just something kind of warm and tinted. So I get the cheapest instant coffee I can, because I drink so much of it I don't need caffeine, so I get caffeine free, which I think I seen what I got out there right now ain't caffeine free. I grabbed that out of the pantry the other day and I'm like, oops, I'm gonna have to get some more caffeine free, because I don't need that much caffeine today. That sure enough had me wired up. Speaking of that, all these health issues I'm having, my blood pressure's been jacked up here for 2 months now, and I think it's a combination of everything with the back pain. So we've been changing that medications up. Can't get my blood pressure down like it ought to be. But anyhow, guys, I done lost train of thought even where I'm at. I guess that's enough about the chickens and what I'm going for here with the using the butter for a finishing feed there to fatten them up at the end. That's something you just have to follow me along. I tell people that all the time. Occasionally you get a comment, they say, well, you never give an update. I said, well, you got to watch all videos if you want an update, because I'm one that randomly I give an update on something within another video. I mean, if I'm doing a video out in the garden on something and then I need to give a quick update on how something I done a few weeks ago is doing, I ain't gonna make a special video just to do an update on that. It's kind of like watching a TV show. You either like me good enough to kind of follow along, or just hit me here or there. Whatever you choose. But now we're gonna move on to my chicks. I'm gonna give y'all a shot of the chicks I got, the 21 chicks, and it ended up, guys, on that video, I counted them in that box, because actually he said 21 chicks, and all 21 of them has had no health issues. They are beautiful and they are growing, and I weighed them on the 13th day. The reason I done that, because I wanted to weigh them on the same day that I weighed the chicks that I hatched from Mandolin Royal eggs, and then I'm gonna weigh them again. I can't remember what day that'll be coming up. It's like 2 weeks later from the 13-day-old. I'm gonna weigh them on that same day, and then I'll probably give y'all an update on the total weights. But I will tell y'all, out of them 21 chicks, the biggest one, 7 pounds, 3/7 ounces. The smallest one was 4 pounds, 0.94 ounces, and it wasn't but one of them under 5 ounces. So that makes the average on 21 chicks, that averages 6.38 ounces per chick. Now right now, that is looking awfully great. Some of you gonna go back and look at that video and compare that to what I had on the Mandolin Royal eggs. Well, I'm gonna just let you go back, because I ain't gonna give you an update until I make my video telling you that. But it ain't a fair comparison, because you're dealing with 21 chicks instead of 14 chicks. So you're gonna have more roosters in there, and your roosters give you more weight. So don't think one's blowing the other out of the park, so to speak. So now, the incubator. Some of you remember me making my homemade incubator out of the ice chest. If I can snag a picture somewhere pretty easily, I'll put it here. But I had my homemade incubator, chest style, out of my ice chest, glass window. And guys, it worked great. I used it a lot for quail. Now in that video, I got some bad comments, or not bad, but negative kind of comments, because I said you ain't got to turn quail eggs or chicken eggs to hatch eggs. Now, when I said that, I ain't saying that you're going to get just as good a hatch by not turning them. My point with that incubator I built was to put out here in the shed. I was getting so many quail eggs, I didn't want to tie up my other little incubators in the house after I done got hatched up what I wanted. So I just put them eggs in here, and I come out here once a day, sometimes wouldn't. Just stick my hand in there and roll them up. Well guys, I was still getting 40–45% hatch rate, and I used that little thing all year, all summer. Done good. But the thing was, in the cold, when it got cold or started out in the spring, I don't run no heat in this shed. And this last week, it's been a couple nights in the 20s. One night got down to 22. So that means it's 22 degrees in this shed, because it ain't insulated. So nights like that, see, I couldn't use that thing. And then in the summer, it's the opposite. It got so hot in this shed, that cheap ice chest it was made out of, it wouldn't, it'd get just as hot as the temperature in here. So, anyhow, when I built my shed this winter, my garden shed, I moved it out there. But the other day I said I need to bring it back in here. I was going to make some little modifications to it. Well, during the moving from that shed to this shed, somehow I done snatched the wire out of the little timer on it with the Inkbird timer. Instead of getting the directions and making sure I wired that thing back up right, I thought I remembered how to do it. And as soon as I plugged it up, it fried the little Inkbird. Well, when it done that, I'm like, well, I'm just going to buy me another little incubator, because I got the Manicoot I love. And that's the one I hatched the 80% hatch rate out of Mandolin Royal eggs, and that's off of Amazon, a Manicoot. I love how it turns the eggs. I like that little incubator. I said, well, I'll buy me another one then. Then I got the Nutri-Right 360. Works great. I like it. I just don't like how it rolls the eggs, because you got to pick every egg up, set them out to get that flayed out when you get ready to go in your lockdown. Or I guess you could leave them sitting in there and just stop it from turning. And then I got my little Magic Fly. That's the one me and Coach started out just in 3 or 4 years ago just to play with. But that little fella works good, and it'll hatch about 20–22 quail eggs, even though it ain't this big. So I was out here in the shed, so I just took my fan out, my little light bulbs out of the ice chest, and chucked it out to the road for the garbage to pick up. A couple days later, I'm out here, ain't got nothing to do in this little ice chest right here. My son worked in Chicago or somewhere, and when he come home, he ordered, I don't know if he found a place he loved their pizzas or what, but he ordered some pizzas from them, and they sent them in this little ice chest, and guys, this thing got walls on it that thick. Well, even though I didn't have my bird timer because it done burn up, I said, I wonder if I stick a light bulb in here real quick. I got this temperature controller. I got 2 or 3 of these that work on heat mats. I said, even though I don't know how accurate they'll be on kicking on and off, I wouldn't worry about if they're, when you type, if you put in 100 degrees, would it be 100 degrees in here? Cause I wasn't gonna go by this temperature reading. I was gonna use my manual gauge and one in the inside anyway. Even on my other one with the Inkbird. But the thing is, with a temperature control, is how far does it let the temperature drop before it kicks back on? How far does it go above before it kicks off? That's where you get into trying stuff like this. Well, lo and behold, this thing's been out here a week. First, I done it for a couple of nights to see before I put any more time into building this little incubator. And lo and behold, this thing is keeping this temperature within 2 degrees. You can't ask for much better than that, especially when it gets down freezing in here at night. So I'm going to get y'all over here and I'm going to show y'all how I put this little incubator together. Since I basically already had everything. So I ain't got nothing in it. But I made me a little turner. Why? It's a manual turner, but the thing is, the first thing I'm going to do every morning, especially when I got eggs in it, I'm going to come out here and make sure the temperature ain't off or anything. I'm going to look, and I got a window right here that's got a glass. Check the temperature, and I'm going to show y'all I got a manual turner. All I got to do is pull it. It rolls the eggs that morning. That evening when I check on it, push it, rolls them back the other way. So this is what I'm going to be experimenting on my yellow hen and my rooster hatching eggs. This thing will hold 12 chicken eggs, which is just right. I can leave it out in the shed and ain't got to worry about it in the house. Because that's one thing about the ones you buy. Even though I love the Manicoop, they're made out of plastic. There's no way you can put them out in the shed like this in temperature that's going to go from 80 during the day to freezing at night. It just won't work. But this thick styrofoam little chest right here has been working. And look how light it is. It's small. And I got some little coil rails. I'll show you when I show you my rails. I can stick these over the rails that's in there, and I can put quail eggs in there. And I think I'm going to be able to put about 28 to 30 quail eggs in there. Maybe 25 if they're extra jumbo eggs. But let me get y'all over here and show you what I got going on. So I'm going to show y'all the front of it first. How y'all like my stickers from the Recreational Homestead. Bresse are the best. Look at there, Chase. Had me a good place to use them stickers now. Right here I got just a manual. This is a little manual gauge like you use testing ACs and automobiles and stuff. You just got it. It's removable. Sticks in and out right there. Actually, I'm going to put some more silicone around that hole. That little rubber part wasn't supposed to pull out of there. I got it where that's supposed to be glued in so it won't waller the hole out, and that's a little rubber tube it slides in. But here, when I want to roll the eggs, you just pull it, push it. And when we look down in there, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now the top view here, that's where I cut the hole to put the light socket. I'm using a 15 watt light bulb. Right here, I wanted me a window. The light's off in there now, y'all can't see. But I put a glass on the bottom, but I kept this plug here. Because if you ain't got that insulated over there, that glass is going to let a lot of heat out there on it. So I just made the plug where I can just lift the plug out. Look through there when the light's on, and I can check the temperature from the inside or peek in, see if there's any chicks hatched or whatever the case may be. you'll see on the bottom of the top, I had to put a piece of wood because that light, if you put that socket through that styrofoam, that probably just blinded y'all. It'll melt the styrofoam. So I just put a little piece of wood that's glued onto that styrofoam with silicone and 4 little screws to hold it till my silicone dried. You can see on the plug, that's what I'm talking about. I put the little clear plastic glass right here. Got it glued in, but then my plug goes over it for insulation. So this here is about 1.5 inches styrofoam box. Now you see how fast it's cooling down, because it's still cool in this shed. It probably ain't 50 degrees in this shed, but you see, well, that's done changed. But it was 99 to 101, 99 point something to 101, as hot as it got and as cool as it's got. That was 32 degrees again last night. In the bottom down here, right there is just a aluminum pan that had holes in it. I don't even like you buy for your grill, like them 99-cent pans. I cut it. That way I got a little water tray under there. You can put your water in for humidity. The egg turner right here, it'll hold 12 chicken eggs, and I made that out of little strips of aluminum so it'd be thin, not take up room. That right there ain't nothing but coat hanger wire, and when you set them eggs in there, let me go get some eggs for demonstration here. Now these are pullet eggs, which are a little on the small side, but they'll let you see how it works. And so you pullet eggs, you still got a lot of room in there. So I set these up with regular size chicken eggs, but you see, just by not even opening it and just pulling that up, it rolls them eggs over. Now does it make them a full 360-degree turn? No. Some might not. But my thing is, I don't think a chicken, when she's sitting on her nest, knows she turns the eggs over 360 degrees or not. I think it's more or less they just don't need to sit in the same spot. But that's just my opinion. I try to think of things on a common sense basis. And a hen that's gone broody, the eggs get turned just by her shaping them or laying another egg and raking it in there, and it moves them other ones around. It ain't like she stands there and turns them over 360 degrees 2 or 3 times a day. So to me, I think it's going to work out just right. I see some people, they put marks on them and make sure they perfectly turned each time from one side to the other. Well, I'm going to be getting enough eggs if I don't get but a 50% hatch rate. That's all right, because I ain't buying the eggs. But anyway, I thought that was pretty snazzy how that works. Over here on the side is the vent hole where you can open and close. That little handle right there is just made out of a little strip of aluminum I bent. Open it up. And that's how it's going to work. And guys, down here where I live in Louisiana, our humidity's so high. I always start out pretty much with a dry hatch, especially this time of year. This time of year, you see, there ain't been no water in here since I experimented with it with water in it to see how high it would come up. But ain't no water been in here for 2 or 3 days, and it's 35%, 36% humidity in this shed. So I start out with what you call a dry hatch and then add a little water on lockdown. Now when I put quail eggs in, I took some of this little PVC and I split it where it sit right over that wire. And they don't go on real easy, because if you made them too easy, when it rolls, they come off. But you clip them little rails right there when you want to do quails on each wire, and it closes it up. So then it makes it fit your quail eggs. Because later on, that's what this will be getting used the most for. And you can just pop them right back off. Just that simple. So I need to get these eggs out of here, because these are pullet eggs. And I just let one of my pullet eggs roll off the table there and broke. But guys, I'm going to start out with this as a still air incubator on this test. One thing I never hatched from this hen. It's in the winter time. I don't know. This rooster's never been proven, so I don't know if he's fertile. I have seen him breeding her, so at least that started. So all I can do is put them in there, wait a few days, candle them, and see if they're fertile. If they are, I'm going from there, but I'm going to start out just doing this as a still air incubator. But I do have the fan out of the other incubator I made, but it's a little bit bigger fan than I would want to put in here anyway. I'm going to put it, later on I might get one of them little 2.5 by 2.5 inch computer fans, and I can mount it in there to circulate the air, because you can get them little fans for like $10. Also, if this works out well, I'm probably going to buy me another little Inkbird temperature controller, because if you watch them, you can get them for like $10. So then I'd only have $20 in this little incubator. Because once I start setting my seeds, I'm going to be wanting to use my temperature controller here. I've been starting my seeds in the house every year. I'm thinking about bringing them out here in the shed. I can set my little rack right here in the middle where I can walk on each side, and then basically build me a tent over it. That way I could just put a little electric heater in it maybe, just to keep the temperature, not heating the shed, but just heat inside that tent. That's another idea I had. I don't know why I threw that in for y'all. It made me think when I was talking about the controller here. So I don't know. But anyway, as good as the first incubator I made worked, and I didn't even have an egg turner in it, it worked way good enough for me. Now I didn't trust it when I got them eggs from Mandolin Roy, or if I'd have bought eggs from anywhere else, I wouldn't have put them in my homemade incubator when I got one in the house. Automatically turn the eggs and stuff. Another thing I did a couple of times when I used my other incubator, I'd put my quail eggs in the house, let them turn, then on the 14th day, then I'd bring them out here and put them in there and let them hatch. And then, yeah, I got a better hatch rate doing that. But that kept them incubator in the house from getting nasty and so corroded. So that's why I used that, the other one out here. And that may be how this ends up getting worked, I don't know. But I'm thinking with the little turner now that I can just not even open it up every morning. I'm gonna check on it every morning, every evening anyway. You can just, when you peek in there, you can just pull that evening, peek in there, or if you come through during the day. I got some other 2 projects over here that I worked on. Kind of like this little incubator here. Come out here, work, do something to it a little while. They're gonna be coming up in a video. And it's gonna be kind of the same thing as this incubator I just showed, explain how I built them. But neither one of these other projects won't get used until it's gardening time and yard mowing time. But guys, if you have any comments, suggestions on breeding chickens or incubation, please leave them down there in the comments. If you think what I'm doing is crazy, just tell me I'm crazy. I don't care. Just leave me a comment. I know I do a lot of crazy stuff, because I like experimenting. Even when the odds is against me, I like experimenting. And that's one thing, the last email I got from Mandolin Royal about breeding these chickens, she said something in the email that made perfectly sense. You got to look at chickens like buying lottery tickets. The biggest majority of them is going to be coals. You ain't going to get nothing no better. You're just going to take your few little wins that you get here along the way and try to accept them for your breeders. But don't be ever expecting that perfect win to come out of there, because the odds is you ain't going to get it unless you've been breeding chickens for a long time. So it's just And that, when she said that, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much the way I need stuff said to me. That's the way I like stuff explained to me. That don't confuse me as much as all them chromosomes and genes and DNA and homozygotes and whatever else, however they pronounce all them genes and words. But I just thought I'd mention that 'cause I just read that email this morning, and that hit the nail right on the head. Kind of like buying a lottery ticket. Don't expect nothing, just accept what little bit you get. Use that to improve on. But guys, again, hope y'all have a great day, blessed week. God bless. See y'all next time.